because it's the child that I but I'm glad it
Call this Commission Court to order this morning. Michigan County Commission Court, July 8, 2025. Let's all rise to the invocation for Father General.
As we begin our prayer this morning, we remember in our thoughts and we send blessings to the victims of the Texas Hill Country who have suffered so much from the flash floods in recent days. We keep them in our hearts and we send them many blessings from here, from our community in Alpine. May the Lord who sent about doing good be with you. God is love. In the desire to make us share in his love, he sent his Son into the world to come to our aid and in gentle kindness to help those who were weak, sick, or unfortunate. In his great love for us, all of us, Christ said that whatever you do for the least among us, we do for him. He called those who show mercy blessed of his Father and promised them eternal life. Let us then pray for the Lord's richest blessings on the members of this organization who are devoted to helping their brothers and sisters in our community. Blessed are you, Lord God of mercy, who through your Son gave us a marvelous example of charity and the great commandment to love for one another. Send down your blessings on these men and women who so generously devote themselves to helping our community. When they are called on this times of need, let them faithfully serve you in their neighbor. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. The love of Christ has gathered us together into one. Let us rejoice and be glad in him. Let us fear and love the living God and love each other from the depths of our heart. Therefore, when we are together, let us make heed not to be divided in mind. Let there be an end of bitterness and quarrels, an end to strife, and in our midst be Christ our God. And in company with the blessed, may we see your face in glory, Christ our God, pure and unbounded joy forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and Texas proud. Honor the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Thanks, Father. Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay. We're going to hear a lot of minutia. If you don't, thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, let's do number 4 this morning. Review, discuss, and take action to approve the previous minutes of the previous meeting, July 24th. I'm finding that order. Okay. Motion to approve the minutes from June 24th. In a second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Number 5, public comments today. Any public comments? All right, compliments come to the judge. Complaints this week go to Jim Lester. Don't thank me. You had it. I rotate around. That's spread love. Yeah. Well, you earned an award for your wonderful float. The county did. Want to know that they came in 3rd. It was all nice float. And the driver managed to stay on the road. Yeah, the driver was the judge. Yeah. All right, no other public comments. Let's do number 6, report from the city of Alpine. Mr. Davis.
Morning, everyone. Morning. Got 5 items to walk through this morning. Like you all, we're in budget cycle right now, so we actually have a special city council meeting tonight. I suspect we're meeting probably every week till we get through our budget process. Given we're going to change the city manager, and we've got an interim city manager, and we're working our way through that process. Now, the second item we'll talk about is we do have a city manager position description out. We posted it. We posted it on July 2nd. It's going to be out there 30 days on the city website. If we get enough candidates, then we'll go ahead and start the interview process. If not, then we'll probably go out for a search firm to be able to get more candidates in. I know there's at least 2 people who have spoken to me about it, having expressed an interest in the position. At the last city council meeting, we also appointed utilities director Mike Macias. Mike's been with the city a long time. Many of you may know Mike. He spent a fair amount of time in the water department and our wastewater treatment plant. Mike's got the great technical competency with the licenses and everything else. So I think our utilities guys are going to be in good shape. There's certainly some challenges in terms of retention, but I know Mike's going to go off and work that. As we're working through budget, with all the things we have going on, as you know, we're working on a smart meter program. We had an extensive conversation at City Council about that, to not only improve water, but also our gas meters. We know we have 49 residents and 11 businesses who are going to be part of the pilot program. We'll probably push that out to the November timeframe. It's going to give us time to do a couple things. One, we're in the middle of updating our utility billing software, which I know many of you are part of. And one of the things we talked about was, let's do a little bit of education for not only city council, but all of our residents about how that's going to come online. So we get working that. So we want to get through that process first, then we'll go work the automatic meter reading. Last item that I have on my list is House Bill 2464. Is related to home occupancy businesses, which is a big item for within the city of Alpine. That legislation has already gone into effect. Basically says anyone can run a home business so long as it does not have impact on the surrounding area. No impact is we're not doing manufacturing, not a lot of people coming in. We're in the process of updating our zoning ordinance. It's the last time we're waiting for. We did the first reading of that at the last city council meeting. I expect we'll approve it into final into our ordinance of the July 15th meeting, and that will take that place. And I'll update all of our zoning ordinances I've been talking about, including updates to R1 property lines, R2, R3, R4, which are mixed use, and then taking into account the House Bill 2464. So we're quickly along and working our way through it in our city hall. Questions?
You still think August is the joint venture day for the road work out there on the?
I believe it's true. I talked to Gio about it and he said, yeah, so we'll wait and get the zipper in. I'm not sure if we're gonna get the front end loader in at the speed that we would like it, but the zipper is still forecast for coming in August. We have a good front end loader. We just know we need to replace it. So we'll be talking about that tonight. But my view is, yeah, we'll go work together. So I'm looking forward to it.
Just make sure they coordinate plenty of time. to
On Long Beach, yeah, yeah, we got the material, that's not an issue, but we gotta get people up and in, get them strong, get it going. Okay.
What's your estimated cost of changing the meters over to?
So it's really interesting, when we looked at the water meter system, there was an estimate of $1.3 million to do the entire city. And part of the dialogue, we're at the last city council meeting, our sense is might be able to cut that cost in half. But the technology is continuing to move, fairly quickly. We're gonna end up using the cell tower systems, but I would say cell tower. It'd be cell technology with towers, and that's what we want to get tried out. But I'm hopeful we're gonna come in the half to $750 million range for the entire city. When we're looking at gas meters, we're probably gonna start up at our Fort Davis site up there first. That's a little bit easier, well contained than that. The estimates are in the $150,000 range. So, and we've got the money to go work.
How many meters do you have?
So we have 2,500 water meter accounts. Yeah, that's water meters, and I don't know the number of gas meter accounts, but 2,500 water accounts, that's between commercial and residential.
You know, we converted our meters down in Student View a few years back, and our power that we were concerned about reach, but you can just drive on. Of course, you guys just have an iPad and fix it up to a radio frequency. That worked really good.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, we want to be able to go with the towers because you get immediate feedback, and one of the important things is the water leak. You'll let they'll identify it, then it'll send up an alert. And people can log in, it'll send an alert to them as well as the city, so they'll get work done. Because that's the biggest challenge we face right now is, you know, there's not a week goes by, and we get a couple, 3 calls from this council as well as $500, water bill.
Yeah.
And $500 worth of water, it's over 100,000 gallons of water, right? So that's where I can roll.
there's nobody in the house.
Yeah. So it's running. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I don't like pictures of it.
Just look for the really, really green tree.
How many, accounts are in the city limits versus in the county, and how far out is that?
I don't know, but I can get that answer.
No, I'm just wondering how far these down in city water.
Yes.
Goes out, how many
Yeah.
people you serve.
Yeah, I don't know how many county residents we serve, so if they're within the city limit, which is 4.6 square miles from the city, they get one rate. If it's outside the city limits, it's, 1.5 times the water rate, but still, they're a cost effective. I'll go find
And
that.
I just was curious how far out your reach
Great
is.
structures, yeah.
And
It is interesting around here, I've noticed. It's amazing, there are some things within the city limits and some things out in the county, you wonder what decisions were made based on that, but, it's a bit of a patchwork quilt.
is the city looking up, new builds again now, or there was a moratorium, I thought, for a while?
So it wasn't so much a moratorium as much as trying to get caught up on taps. One of the things that Mike Macias is gonna go back to is what we used to do. And that is have 2 dedicated people to read the water meters. So that will help get people back to being able to do, the fixes and, do the taps. So it's just a question of time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, anything else, Mr. Stevens? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, record number 7, recognitions and announcements. We've already talked about the third place of this county. Anything else? Anything coming up? Well, parade was great. I called, we went down to English parade was excellent. I didn't actually see the parade, but the ability of fire station was good. So it was a good weekend for everybody. They hired Jennifer Kaufman. They had, I think, 30 good. They liked it when you send everything in the shade. On porches, and, I think ended up rating something close to $6,000. Less good paying, our funds, good paying. I'm proud of our farmers, they challenged the Border Patrol to the federal war on Friday. And, the Border Patrol couldn't come up with enough people, so they said it's over. So the military, these young guys showed up, and wow, it's strong, right? Our fire department, a little 3 out of 3. I mean, we drug the guys across the line. So I think we had to wait, We need a wet pit, but yeah, Okay, nothing else. Let's go on to number 8, presentation by American Water Supply regarding activities and operations. American. Go ahead.
They were just gonna come do a presentation on Georgia Cup.
They forgot about it, I guess. Okay. All right, number 9, presentation by Luke Hendricks on agri-life. Got a tie on today.
Yeah, every now and then. Good morning. I'm just going to give you all a couple of quick highlights, and then I'm going to introduce our new district administrator, Josh Blanick, to y'all. So a couple of things that have been going on late spring and into the summer. A lot of 4-H activities. We had our spring ag day out here at Sul Ross. A lot of contests there, a lot of participation. We had an ag literacy, several sessions down there in San Vicente where we did hatching in the classroom. So that was fun down there in the park with those kiddos. District 6 Spring Roundup. We had some kids travel to Spring Roundup and had some representation from the area. Helped with Texas 4-H State Roundup beginning of June there in College Station. Big Bend Livestock Show Association. They had their rules change meeting, and then officer elections and committee elections there in April and May. We had our District 4-H Horse Show. We hosted that out here in Alpine again this year. And then State Fair validation, and then we just validated for cattle for the next year. So we have some really nice steers for the county show, better than we've had quality-wise in quite a while. And then 25, 26, we're getting all the clubs opened up. They start over 4-H year on September 1st. And then as far as adult programming is gone, kind of going back to April, we had that water testing program, and then things kind of shifted. We actually had a lot of entomologists out here last couple months. There was a cactus moth that was discovered in South County in Terlingua Ranch. And so I took a couple entomologists down there and been searching for it, but it's been pretty elusive other than the one that was found. So, so far they haven't found another one. Hopefully they don't, because TDA turns out takes that pretty seriously. So, we had that, and then obviously the evolving screwworm situation. And so keeping a close eye on that. Then the usual landowner calls and site visits. Upcoming ag programming, we have Sandhills Beef Cattle Conference in Monahans this Saturday. So if anybody's around, we have some really, really good speakers coming to that. That's one of our biggest multi-county programs we do. And then we're doing a Big Bend Basics program here in August at Sul Ross. And it's covering birding, bears, beef, screwworms, and range management. So kind of the full spectrum of things. We have some really good speakers coming for that. And that's August 8th. Some professional development activities this summer, and then just kind of getting annual program plans and in-depth reports and stuff like that in. I attended a leadership session in Austin, leadership extension. That was really, really good. That was in early May. We had our West Region spring admin meeting, and then that kind of leads me into just going back to starting over in September with 4-H, roll into stock show season with State Fair and our food and nutrition contest. So amidst all that, we have a new District 6 administrator, Josh Blanick. He's here. He's been a longtime Tom Green County agent, so I'll let you talk to him. Whenever y'all need to beat me over the head with a stick, y'all can call Josh. That's his job.
I think we did that recently. I think we talked to Josh recently.
Yes. And I guarantee you there will be no beating Luke over the head with a stick. So, yes, name's Josh Blanick. I took Mr. Royal's position as District Extension Administrator for District 6 in AgriLife, which is far west Texas. Mr. Royal, as y'all probably knew, moved to Lubbock and took that position. But before I say anything, yes, I don't have to tell y'all this, but, we're very thankful for the job Luke does here. Both his youth programming and adult programming is superior. I mean, his 4-H numbers grow, very active. I mean, great adult programming, programs he does for your producers and homeowners in the county. I mean, he's a leader in our District 6. And, if every agent was like Luke, I wouldn't have a job. There wouldn't be a need for me. So I do want to thank him publicly in front of y'all and let y'all know how appreciative we are of him. But I didn't have anything formal. I just wanted to come and put a face with a name for y'all, so y'all see me. I sent an email, so hopefully y'all got that, and you got my cell phone number and office number and email. If y'all ever need anything, feel free to contact me or holler at Luke. And he can get in touch with me. Known Luke for a long time. Like you said, I've been in extension for 24 years, most recently in Tom Green County. Grew up in San Angelo and we always headed west when I was a kid for whatever rodeos, jackpots, stuff like that, 4-H events. So West Texas is near and dear to my heart and look forward to serving District 6 and helping Luke. And if there's any questions, like I said, nothing formal, just wanted to come meet y'all. So,
I have a quick question.
yes, sir.
On this screw worm deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they closed the border, but now I got an email where they're
Starting up, start opening up, moving
Yeah.
cattle back across.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I didn't have a chance like I should have to really get into the details. I know it's limited opening, move cattle back across, and I don't know which port of entries they're using.
So
So
they're
I
gonna start in Douglas and come east.
can go east.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I got.
say Presidio.
No, Presidio's out.
Del Rio and somewhere
Okay,
in South Texas, I can't remember which one.
Douglas on July 7th, Columbus, New Mexico, July 14th, Santa Teresa, July 21st, Del Rio, August 18th, and Laredo, September 15th.
okay. So, and like I say, I'm not the vet and not in tune with that as much as I'd like to be, but I know through the USDA as secretary and working with the officials, out of Mexico, they're getting more and more fly releases there. I know that was a holdup at first, and y'all know better than I do. That was more political between Trump and the president and these tariffs and all that kind of stuff and immigration. And so it was kind of a little bit of, I don't know, sizing each other up. And that was one of the issues about them not letting as many planes go over into Mexico and drop those flies. As you all have heard, we as the U.S. kind of fell behind in keeping those sterile fly production facilities up to date. So we were behind when this came up, but they're getting those online, getting that ramped up. I have confidence in the USDA. They're going to get it stopped in Mexico and get it pushed back south. But it's just something that, especially this part of the world, needs to be just aware of and have it on their radar in case it does get any closer. But
Well, my concern was, as probably everybody is.
Right.
They're opening them up. That means the cattle have been on the border pretty close somewhere, right?
right, yeah, they've been
Or
there.
they truck them in from somewhere that has it already.
Yeah.
Mhm. From further south in Mexico.
Yeah.
I understand why they wanted to open. Their markets are
Yeah, decimated without us.
affected. And who makes that call?
US, USDA Rollins out of Washington. Yeah, that's not a state. Yeah, that's not a state.
Right, it's a federal.
It's federal. Yeah.
Well, when they open the border, they inspect cattle for lesions that they've already been
Yes.
infected.
Yeah, it's just like fruits, vegetables, anything else.
Federally, they're coming in
clean.
Yep.
You get a fly, there may not be on the animal. I mean, there may not be a wound on the animal.
Just a fly.
But if the fly comes with them.
Fly.
Do they
spray them or something when they come? They used to dip them.
They used to dip them, but I don't know what they do now.
Yeah.
I mean, surely there's another part to opening the border. There must be, a backstop to.
Right. They're quarantined there and they're
Yeah.
infected before
Okay.
they're ever crossed. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
So,
we thank you for your help the other
Thank you.
day on screwworm things.
yeah,
Appreciate
no
it.
problem.
I do have one question. Is gardening part of your bailiwick, teaching kids how to take care of a garden or something like that?
Sure. There's a lot of programming we can do regarding that.
Well, the reason I say that is the Boy Scouts have come in and cleaned up the community gardens,
Yes, sir.
which remind me, Johnny, I need to talk to you about something, but, I hate to, it's one of those deals where as long as there's volunteers to oversee it and it
Right.
runs, and then the minute the leadership goes, there goes the garden.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, they got it all cleaned up and they're gonna plant stuff on those raised beds, and I wonder if it's something that after they're done, I mean, my goal is to keep the Boy Scouts, make that their active project, not
Yes.
just a one-time thing.
Mhm.
We're happy to help, but, I'm wondering if you guys could provide a little leadership there, will help us with that. Keep it open. It's right there by your shop, you know.
For sure, some programming we can do with it. I've actually had a lot of conversations with people about the community garden over the years since I've been here. And, you know, that used to be like a semi-paid position, grant funded through the food bank, and then when it transitioned, that went away. And then I think also there's no water going back there. The water to it came from that house adjacent to it.
Right.
And so that also did it in, but it's one of those ones that's kind of a labor of love volunteers, and when that round of volunteers goes, you know, that's a full-time job.
Right.
Keeping something like that up, but there's a lot of resources we have and guidance we can give. It's just, you know, making sure there's whether it's the Boy Scouts or community volunteers who can help supplement that, keep it going, so. Be a good thing. I mean, I've noticed it's being cleaned up back there, so for sure something that we could help with. So.
Okay.
Has the house there denied our use of the water or shut it off or?
Sure. I'll have to ask Johnny about that. I'm not sure what the deal was, because it's changed. There's been several different people in there since I've been here. And somewhere along the lines, you know, I guess the owner who had it when the food bank was there allowed them to use the water, and then I'm not sure. So I mean, in my mind, it would be the first thing I would want to do is make sure that it had, you know, water maybe from the building, a line that we didn't have to rely on their well, because heaven forbid their well go down or something, then you're, you know, at the mercy of them upkeeping their well to keep you in water. So I've had several people approach me in the past about, you know, opening that up or what to do, and that was always one of the first things I think is making sure there's a reliable water source there so that we're not having to go next door, so.
Is the building a facilities building on a well or is it on city water?
From city water.
Yeah, can we tap into them?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can probably.
We will have water. I mean, that's the point, right?
But, yeah, I mean, this is having a, you know, reliable source of water.
Right.
Where, I mean, heaven forbid somebody leaves the tap open and the neighbor doesn't like it because he ran your well all weekend and they just decided to take the water line off, and then, you know, your garden's kind of at their mercy or something like that. There's all sorts of scenarios. That's always been, the first thing was, water source. And like I said, Johnny would know more about it, I think, than I would. And then Martha Lotta, she was the one who ran that forever for the, food bank. And whenever it was, you go back there, there's a list of volunteers, you know, a mile long, people who were behind it, helped out with it. So I think there would be, you know, support for it if we were to get it going, but I think there's some, you know, steps that we need to make sure.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you.
We're headed to Jeff Davis County. We're gonna knock out both, so.
I'm gonna get Judge Evans over there as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Luke. People's Farm.
People's Farm, yeah. All right, number 10, county judge report. I've got a number of things this morning and need y'all's review or action on. Let's do A first, review and discuss and take action to approve updated proposal. So last Commissioners Court, we brought to you guys the lease program for all of the printers that we're replacing across the county. It turned out we forgot Terlingua. And so they have a printer down there, and then we added some scanners for the finance group. Because
There was a printer down there.
yeah. So the finance group is going to need some scanners for their new system. It raised the price of the lease nominally. And so I just need approval from you guys for the updated lease agreement. Those printers are scheduled to come in tomorrow and be replaced across the county.
It's Suzanne. Did somebody reach out to Suzanne?
Yes, and Suzanne is on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Any motion is second, any discussion?
These are all, this is your plan to get them all on similar toner cartridges.
Yeah, so it's all gonna be Xerox. It'll automatically order the toner when it gets down to 10% or whatever the percentage is. And the department will receive that toner without having to order it, ask for it. They're all gonna be tied into our network, so we know where all the printers are.
And you can print to all of them.
Theoretically, we could print to everything. I could print anywhere in the county, but we'll segregate them so you know, certain printers, we don't want people.
And we won't have a surplus of toner cartridges then. You can get them on a as a just in time.
Correct,
Yeah.
as opposed to having $10,000 worth of cartridges stacked up that we don't use anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So, this was just adding a couple of printers and some scanners. Motion and a second Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Item B is, this is, under the budgeting process. I don't really think we have to do this every year. This is sort of a belt and suspenders. We just have to designate an officer and employee to certify and calculate the 26 tax rates. That's normally fall into Sylvia, our tax assessor. It's unclear whether you have to do that every year. So in the absence of unclearness, I need a motion to
Someone,
appoint her.
Second.
Okay, motion is second, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Sylvia doesn't get to discuss. eh?
No, Sylvia doesn't really have a choice.
Judge,
Unless you don't want it, Sylvia, I bet you do want it though.
Judge,
Yeah,
I just wanted to say, on the agenda, it says 2026 tax rates, it should be 2020.
it is 25, so that's a clerical there. 25 tax rate. All right, C, review, discuss, and take appropriate action to reserve the following dates. I just want to put the court on alert that we may need these dates for special meetings. I doubt we'll need all of these. But just give you guys a heads up that we may need to have some budget meetings, particularly during August, although I'd like to call a special meeting next Tuesday for you guys to see the first pass budget. So you can get a feel for where we're headed and we can talk about issues
That's the
related to
15th?
the budget. So yeah, that'd be a week from today at 9:30. It'll be the only, there may be 2 items on the agenda, but this will be the big one. I don't think it'll take long, but you guys need to see the numbers for this
You need a
year.
motion for this?
No, I have the authority to call a special meeting. I just wanted to let y'all know that.
just want us to attend.
Yeah, don't go on vacation in August. You know, that message.
No sick, no vacation.
No sick, no vacation, be here or be square.
Charge money for this special.
Y'all have done this. I mean, we've done this for a couple of years. It's not, I reserve them, but frankly, we're probably not going to use them. We might use one in August. Sometimes we get into a time crunch on the, approving the budget and all that sort of thing.
Mhm.
All right, item D, review, discuss, and take action regarding the 394th District Court's 26 budget. You guys will look at that item on your screen. So in the past, what has happened is the district court, I don't even know how to describe how convoluted it was, but effectively what would happen is they would buy something and split it 5 ways onto some archaic formula, and each county would get a bill for their share of the cost. So Laurie, for example, who was the court administrator, would get 5 paychecks. She still gets 5 paychecks, one from each county for their pro rata share. So the problem with it is that if she was having to keep these elaborate spreadsheets that were hard to follow and very time consuming for her. Secondly, we could never really figure out what the cost of the 394th was because we would have to go to all the other counties, the other 4 counties, to figure out what everybody was paying to come up with it. So with Judge Kimball coming in, I went to him and said, look, why don't we be the fiscal agent for this, since it's right here in your backyard. We'll follow a purchase order system that we already have in place, and we'll set up a budget for the 394th. Our share of this is 37%. That's based on, that's another mystery on exactly how that percentage got calculated, but it appears to be calculated on cases, percentage of cases in total. And so we leave the percentages alone and doing a budget. What we'll have is 2 line items. We'll have our contribution to this budget, which is pretty fixed budget. All right. And then we'll have a second line item for contingencies because court reporters, visiting judges, and any indigent appointments outside the far west Texas would be at the expense of the county that has it. So we don't obviously have to pay for Culberson County's visiting judge. They're not going to pay for ours. So those would be outside the budget. Our share of the budget is 97,000. This year we budgeted 104, so it's actually a little bit less than what we budgeted. But we're having a hard time understanding what we really are spending, and this is going to give us a handle on that. So this budget really will be. I really don't even need approval on this right now. We can pass it at the budget approval process. But wanted to let you know this is coming this year. and just makes a lot more sense for us, financially. Melinda and Julie and I have discussed this, and Monty's totally on board on it because he couldn't figure it out either. So really just FYI about the budget on the district court. Okay, plus, we asked for, I met with all the judges, we asked for a fiscal agent fee and they didn't have a problem with that, so we'll be charging a small fee for our work. All right, item E is the 26 budget timeline. Again, this is just for y'all's review, just give you an idea of what's happening in the next couple of months or rest of this month and next month. The ultimate goal is the 26th of August will be our final regular court meeting to approve the budget, the tax rates, and all the things associated with that. This is not any different than what we've done in the past. Just want to let y'all know that's kind of the timeline. We've got to make some decisions on a few things pretty quickly so we can get them spooled up to get in the paper. And of course, by August 1st or around there, we'll start getting the final tax levy for the county and then the tax estimates for the rates. So that's all I have on that. Anybody have any questions?
What's the date we have to meet until you said it?
26th of August is going to be, we're shooting, that's our hard date to get it
Okay.
all wrapped up.
That's what I'm trying to, okay.
And that's a regularly scheduled commissioners court meeting, which is when we have to do that.
Mhm.
And so that one's already on the books, and if all goes well, now we've got some slack. It doesn't have to be done, but this was where we did it last year, and so I'm trying to shoot for the same thing. Fun and games in the budget world.
Everybody's favorite time of year.
One of the things I'm gonna ask one of the things that's required in the budget process, and it's also required monthly, we're gonna try to get back on track. Julie, I'm asking all of the department or elected officials that have fees and fines to bring in next Tuesday their schedule, so we can look at that. We're required to review that, and then I'd like to see their year to date and see how that matches up to make sure everything's flowing properly. So I'm asking all the elected officials, this is district clerk, county clerk, and the 3 JPs. Is there anybody else? I think that's all of to bring in their fees, and fines. County judge has some fines, but
County attorney, district attorney, again, PTD. I don't know if you want to include them.
yeah, we may do that. And then I've got the sheriff with his
Civil process.
civil process. Yeah, we'll bring that in as well.
Sheriff brings in civil process, fingerprints,
Subpoenas.
record searches.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? All right, nothing further. We'll move on to number 11, review, discuss, and take possible action regarding indigent cremation expense. This is more of a ratification. Well, no, actually, I don't think I've signed this yet. I wanted you guys to see what indigent burials are costing the county. Now, fortunately, we haven't had a whole lot of them this year, but if you look at the invoice, we get a $1,200 price from the crematorium for the cremating the remains of an indigent person. But it doesn't stop there. There is a transportation of the remains from wherever they passed to the crematorium, and then a body bag. Frankly, we could probably buy our own body bags for much less than $150, but then somebody's got to stay on top of that. So at the end of the day, indigent cremation costs the county about $2,050. So just want you guys to be aware of the cost of that. Now, if an autopsy is added in on top of that, you can double that number. Because the autopsies, we just learned yesterday that the company that does our autopsies in Lubbock is he's retiring and going out of business. So we're now going to be searching for a new place to send our autopsies.
Probably El Paso.
Well, there's another one in Lubbock we're going to look at, but there are some with San Antonio and El Paso. I think
We sent some to Fort Worth down at
have kind of going to shop around for some good pricing autopsies.
got free.
Sadly, we had a young man from Rio Grande Electric pass away on last weekend. I was electrocuted while he was working on the pole
Oh, gosh.
down on 2627. So our prayers go out to his family. It was a very tragic accident. Let's see, I think, have I signed this? Yeah, I've already signed this, so I just like ratification of this approval for the indigent burial of this particular person.
So moved.
Okay,
Second,
motion is second. Any discussion?
Where is Red Dog Road?
that's on the ranch, isn't it?
Is it where?
I think it's on Terlingo Ranch.
It's on Turling Ranch.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I've never heard of Red Dog Road. It's just
I've heard of Red
is it
Dog.
one of those made up names.
It's in Big Bend Valley, I think. They're all made up names. Show me a name that's not made up.
Well, I thought Casey was getting a handle. This is still
She makes them
I
up.
bet this is a real made up.
a real made up name. Okay. Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
I-
All right, number 12, we don't have anything to discuss on the project list at this time, so we'll pass on that. 13, Road and Bridge Department. Hello?
That's you.
No, just to
Bueller.
be on the roads after the good rain we had. We're still chugging at them one at a time. We did get some calls on the weekend of the 4th. Out at Wagon Road, there was debris, unpassable. So I sent a couple of guys over there and they made the road passable. The Ring Ranch Road got a call and made that road passable. Also, I had some guys clean out the Marathon Civic Center and the park, getting it ready for 4th of July, and they also cleaned around town. They had a good turnout at the post. Went up there on Saturday just to check on things, and everything looked good. Basically, all we're doing is trying to keep the people that are calling me and sending me messages on their roads to kind of keep them updated on when I can get there or when we can get there, and just plan it. I go out and see how bad the road is, and I'm trying to put my main roads in a priority order.
All right. Speaking of that, when you get a chance, the people took all that bunch of debris out of that garden over there by Johnny's office. It's piled up. When y'all get a chance, would y'all haul that off for me, please, sir? Probably just needs one trailer load of stuff, maybe a skid steer or something. I don't know how you want to get it up. It's a pretty good sized pile of debris that they cleaned up, so. Any permits today?
No, sir, no permits.
Any comments on Road and Bridge, Ruben?
Well, Johnny, the judge and I went and looked at South Hackberry with Mr. Balls. You know, the guy that wants
With the curb.
the curve,
Mhm.
and I think we're gonna talk to him to see what he wants to do, and then we'll try to do it. I don't know what you got, if you have any suggestions.
Well, I mean, if we try to widen that road to get away from his property,
We're taking somebody else's.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know who it belongs to, and they may not want us to do that.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know.
Thought we already discussed that. We were gonna get that surveyor, Kevin, to go.
Well, we wanted to talk to Mr. Ball first,
Okay.
Yeah.
and we haven't. He seems like a nice guy, I don't know.
He is, I mean, he wasn't upset.
No, he's not.
I talked to him the first time. He just happened to have his property surveyed for some reason or another, and he found out that the county curve or that curve was.
Well, I think the survey that we looked at was an older one, cause it had had a Walker. And this was done by,
Sawtooth.
yeah, Sawtooth.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, well, I have to talk to him. Anyway, that's it.
Well, that's good to know in case he calls me and says, hey, what's the update on?
Yeah.
I think next week we'll try to get out, and see you, me and Mo or something. Go ahead. Yeah, we need to close. We just need to close that thing.
Traffic going up and down there, so.
Right.
I mean, maybe we can work something out with him just to leave it as it is. I mean,
All right, Ruben, you got anything on Road and Bridge?
Johnny, I had this weekend I was gonna look at Mills Road because it had rained a lot more and I decided against it. But instead I drove out Sunny Glen and Wagon Road is rough until I made the turn to Hill Road. No one's complained. Hill seems to be completely washed out. I
Hill,
mean, it's bad.
no, the call that I got was, well, actually, it wasn't a call, it was when we had that real good rain last week,
Yeah.
a couple of guys went out there and checked in that trail run or trail drive. That's the one that washed down into the road and was not passable. And they went around and it is rough. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's not muddy like Mills. It's just very, very, very rough.
Well, you have to realize that that one actually sits up on top of a rock cliff,
Right.
cap rock. On the southwest side of it, last year we put some fill on it. And we took some base up there and filled that far side that was rougher than it is now.
That's what washed down to Wagon Road.
Yeah. And Hill Road, it's down to Cap Rock. You're right. And the other,
I think we have that problem countywide right now.
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And
People are just gonna have to be really patient with us because, I mean, we're trying to get to everybody and the roads that are passable, they're just gonna have to slow down a little bit to
Right.
keep driving.
yeah, I
We're
made
trying
it.
to work on the ones that are
I
not
made it
passable.
out, so that wasn't a problem. The other question, like someone called, what were our plans on the remainder of Los Ranchos? When we took the road over, we went up to Alpine Creek and didn't go beyond it. Now I'm sure Alpine Creek was flowing recently too. And the people on the other side were asking, when are we going to finish it? We never went beyond Alpine Creek.
I have no, this is the first I've heard about that one,
Yeah.
but does it go all the way into Alpine Creek or just to the creek?
No, it goes through it. And then on beyond there, there's, what Clint Hamby, I think,
There's
is
a
out there.
cul-de-sac, and it was a little cul-de-sac,
Mhm.
maybe 500 yards down from the creek.
Oh, look at it.
Yeah. There was just the call, I mean, it's passable, or it was, until the water, but they were just wondering when, because the first part you did so nice, now the other people want it
Well, the
just like
first
that.
part was done, the first part was done before I came in. From Los Ranchos to the creek.
Yeah.
And then from the creek over and to the right,
Mhm.
it's just a regular dirt road.
Right. Well, he did such a good job. Now they want the rest of it. It's passable. It's not priority.
We can put them on the list.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Thank you.
All right, if nothing else on road and bridge, we'll move on to emergency management. There's no report for number 14. Number 15 is treasurer's office. Financial reports, updates.
I'm gonna go over my, I'm reporting on, May for my monthly report. At the end of May 31st, the total cash and other assets was $18,813,734. Total interest earned for the month of May was $83,242. Let's see. Check my check report, all the vendor payments we made, total for the month of May, $547,671. Our property tax collections at the end of May. At the end of May, we had $266,549 dollars left to collect for our property tax that was budgeted for the year. That's 5.67% remaining. Delinquent taxes, we had at the end of May collected 107.65% more than what we budgeted. And then penalty and interest at the end of May, we had collected 133.80%. So that does help with what's remaining on the property tax collections at the end of May. Sales tax, we have at the end of May, these were the collections for October through March, and we are at 47.84% in collections with for a total of $521,591. Our general fund budget at the end of May in revenues, we have 35.79% remaining to collect, which was a total of $6,194,565. Expenses for general fund, we have 44% remaining in our budget of the budget. The total budget was $9,647,000. So our expenses in general fund was $5,403,043. Road and bridge of our $839,000 budget, we have collected $324,000 in road and bridge fees and vehicle registration, which remaining is a remaining of 61.33%. Our expenses total $372,000, and that's a remaining 57.02%. INS, we had a budget of $287,000, which includes our FY25 debt payment for the year. We have a remaining 13.73% in to collect. We received enough to make our debt payment for the year of $245,000. Do you all have any questions?
When are we gonna get PILT, you reckon?
We have gotten it. I got it last week and I put it in the bank last week. So it's there.
What's the bill?
PILT, yeah, and we budgeted 1.4 million on this and we received 1.6 million. So that's a very nice
Nice.
chunk of money for the county. So that's gonna help a lot. And then if we build school resource officers?
I just built them for April through June.
Okay.
I built them as soon as the June 20th payroll ended, I built them. That was about 50 something thousand that they'll owe us. And they had told me they're getting the payment back pretty quickly because their budget ends June 30th. So I should be receiving it any day now.
And then sales tax always get messed up. Sales tax. It's 2 months behind.
Mhm.
So May,
we had received it in October through March.
Okay.
And
so we'll hit our $1 million.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
So is it safe to say that the month of June will be a better tax collection month? Because the penalties and interest going in July.
Yes,
Some
sir.
people come in and go, well, I'm gonna pay it now.
Sometimes, yes, sir.
Sometimes. Okay, I was just.
Well, I mean, penalties and interest started accruing on February 1st, but by now they're starting to get the hadograms.
Yeah.
That says we're gonna sue you. Here's have a
I
nice
did,
day.
so my report at the end of May was we had 266,000 left in property taxes to collect. I did run that number as of today. As of today, we have 192,000 left to collect.
Pretty good.
Whittling it down.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions for Julie on the financial report? I'd entertain a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Just out of curiosity, Court, I noticed that we still have we have a small balance left on that cat mulcher for 22. Cat Mulcher's got a balance of $16,000. It's got a 3.95 interest rate, so we're getting close to not earning as much as we're paying on the debt. Any appetite for leave it alone, or any appetite just to pay that small amount off? Thoughts? The only reason I'm saying that is we're probably going into some potential other lease arrangements down this next year, and you know, we don't have to make a decision today, but just think about maybe we're going to pay that one off. Might even want to pay the pneumatic.
What's the balance on that? What's the balance on that, on the infrastructure?
On the general obligation funds, on the emergency centers,
Yes,
1.5 on that. And we've got 3 years left on that one.
we here.
And that one, I'd say leave it alone because
I just didn't remember when we,
yeah, we're almost there.
when it matured. I knew it was close, but
Julie, on that, speaking of that, on that debt, general obligation bonds, says amount issued 1.6 million, amount retired to 0. I think it probably needs a number in there, doesn't it? Which is the difference between 711 and 1. Okay. Anyway, don't think about it. It might be something we want to talk about at the next meeting.
You say we're paying more.
Well, we're earning 4.5 on our money.
Mm-hmm.
We're paying 3.95 on the lease, so we're okay.
Yeah.
We're earning more than we're paying, but I mean, so it's not in the world. Just
Yeah.
a small balance at what point. It's not worth messing with. Just pay it off. Yeah, I mean, we got the cash flow to do it.
Okay. Is that your opinion that it's better to?
Right now, I would do
Okay.
nothing.
Okay.
Just sit on it and we'll look at it. Rates keep falling. Then we may want to make it fit. All right, motion and second to approve the financial as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, let's do treasurer's report item B as in Bravo, review, discuss and take action. Update to Brewster County employee policies. This is just sort of a clarification regarding the personal use of a county-owned vehicle. We have virtually very few people that use a county-owned vehicle. And Melinda, you want to walk through the kind of the two things that come about on that?
The main thing, yeah.
It didn't sign.
The main issue on it is that the method that we were using to include the taxable fringe benefit, in the employee's compensation was at odds with what was in our employee manual. There are two methods that you can use. You can either use commuting only, which is a flat amount per commuting mile per day. And the other option is, to use a mileage log. So like, Johnny would have to log down every time he gets in the car, and generally people are not going to do that. So essentially what we did was just update the policy to allow the use of either method, and then also to add a form that they can document that they have read the policy, they understand the policy, they agreed to use a certain method and have it included in their compensation, and provide their commuting mileage. I think the few that we have doing anything with a personal use for commuting, they would just, put down the number of commuting miles on that form. Everybody signs off on it. It's not really changing too much what we're doing. It may change the fringe benefit amount a little bit with calculations with new rates, but it's going to be minimal. It's mainly about just documenting the process and the method that we're using.
So I'm recommending that we use a commuting only policy, which is way easier than keeping records and logs, and that's just not.
It is, and the only reason I left the personal use and the mileage log method in there
Is we have an option to use it.
we might have something come up where that makes more sense. So if we did, we'd have it available.
So as an example, Johnny Valencia takes his truck home where he uses it, where he parks it and uses it in case he gets called out for something at the facilities. His commuting mileage from his house to here, which can't be very much, basically is fringe, according to the IRS, that's a fringe benefit and his income to him. So he'll have that on his paycheck. It's nominal, but it's what the law says. So the only other ones that do that is juvenile probation, and I think we've
juvenile probation and,
You don't,
Johnny Valencia.
I let them take them this weekend,
those are separate. Yeah, those are.
because they were
We're busy.
they were getting washed out and it was easier to take the truck to the house and get called out from the house.
Yeah, correct. That's not, that's just a one time or a couple of times a year
Yeah.
because of the rain. We're not worried about that one.
No, and that also I think could be justified as a bona fide county.
Yeah. That's a job call out. That's not.
For a job
meeting.
call out, yeah.
It's like a law enforcement's not subject to this either, as they take their vehicles off. Okay, just need a motion and a second and approval on this, please.
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion is second, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Item C, 15C, review and discuss, take action regarding special qualification pay. You guys will pull that up. This is just a review of special qualification pay, just kind of clarifying it. This is an annual amount to employees that meet certain certifications or licensing. It tends to fall mostly in the law enforcement first responder world. There is some additional ones for bachelor's degrees and Spanish fluency.
Never seen those before.
Yeah, this has been on the books for a long time. It's kind of been cleaned up a little bit. So this is added to their paycheck, ironically, every paycheck, right?
Per
So
paycheck.
if you get $50, we scatter that 26 times over the year.
$1.92.
$1.92 on a paycheck. By the time you pay taxes, it's not worth the paper it's written on. But I need this, guys, to get into the budget. So this is really not changed.
So moved.
Much. I'll second. Motion is second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. By the way, elected officials are not, you don't get qualified pay
Okay.
because you're too important. All right. Any other items on the treasurer's office regarding the financial administration?
No, just to give y'all a quick update. Last week and this week we are doing a parallel payroll. So we did it in our legacy system, our July 3rd.
Get to do it twice.
Yeah, we're
Three times.
We're currently working on doing it in Tyler, going through everybody's pay, everybody's taxes, deductions, benefits, GL line items. And what we're doing is it has to be exactly what was in that data, has to be exactly how it is in Tyler. So that's what we're working on. Hopefully, today, we're gonna get everything ticked and tied and be able to actually run it in Tyler today. So fingers crossed, we have everything matching and then, so the next payroll, the July 14th payroll, I think, will be in Tyler, our next pay date.
It's been a big job to get this payroll. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
very
Just
tedious
like
work.
cross your fingers,
Say a
say some prayer.
prayers.
Yeah.
What?
But the last thing
Whatever
we want to do is mess up on anybody's pay because we know how important it is. So, just
Is that like one of the last things for the conversion?
it is one of the last things we have. The employee access pro where people will actually enter in their time themselves and then that will generate a whole like timesheet and it's automatically uploaded into our system. So there's going to be no more paper timesheets for us to deal with. It'll all be electronic. And then after that, we also have our fixed assets module. So I think that'll be fairly simple. It's just a matter of having all our inventory net data and having it. We're doing it on a spreadsheet, so it'll be uploaded into Tyler. And it looks Tyler looks real easy to maintain. We can have also like attach invoices, attach purchase orders, titles, which is a really nice benefit because we don't have that ability in that data.
So we can go back and look at a truck that we bought 4 years ago and see, hey, this is what we paid for it. Well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tyler thing has been, I mean, it's been painful. We knew it was gonna be painful, but it's moving the reporting we're getting is, I mean, I actually feel like for the first time as county judge, I got numbers that I can like look at and understand. So the net data was just so ancient. One of the things we are talking about, we'll bring it back to the court, is there's a module for accounts receivable, which would allow us to, we have a lot of stuff we bill people for, but we're keeping it, you know, on a scrap of paper, on a spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah.
We need to have our accounting system keep track of that. So for a small sum of about $1,800 or so, I think we can buy that accounts receivable module. The one thing I don't like about Tyler is that everything's modularized.
Mhm.
So they can nickel and dime you, but I know why they do it, because not every county wants everything. So you buy it a la carte, but I think we may want that one.
Well, and the advantage to the way they do that is basically when they loaded our system, we've already got accounts receivable loaded to our system. It's just not activated. So it's not that somebody's gonna go in and install a bunch of software. It's there. They just have to flip a switch and then we have to configure the vendors in it.
Okay, nothing else from the treasurer's office?
No, sir.
All right, 16 is county judge brain deadness. That's, we already done that one, so I put it on the agenda twice. My apologies. Don't ever let it happen again. All right, number 17, review, discuss, and take action regarding cap risk proposal, provide actuarial calculations. Number 17, what this does is that every year when we do an audit, is it every year or every couple of years? It's every 2 years, isn't it?
Well, the main year, which is the initial year of their 5-year contract, is a full-on thing, and then the intervening years are updates. So it's less expensive.
So effectively what happens under the accounting rules, they look at our pension plan and they determine what piece of, and so there's always a liability associated with pension plan because it's not 100% funded. So what we want it to be is in the 92-93% range, but we have to have an actuary tell us what that calculation is. So effectively, if our pension obligation is $1 million, we funded it at $920,000. There's a gap technically there. It's way out in the future. That can change. What we want to do is monitor to make sure that change is minimal and not falling below 90%. It never has. So this is a contract to renew our actuary to do this. It's required as part of our GASB accounting. Which one? 7. Just another dollar out of our pocket, but we've got to do it. So I need approval to approve this contract. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Melinda, I've got Linda Walker here, probably brain dead by now. I'm gonna move to 19, Brewster County Tourism. I promised Robert I was gonna move him up, and now he's at the back of the pack again. So I'm gonna go all the way down to 19, D as in Delta, which is the 226 recommended tourism budget. My apologies, Linda. Didn't mean to make it, but I thought it'd be good for you.
Well, I got Sean into doing this, so I'm going to talk about the budget. And do you guys have a copy in
Yes.
front of you? All right.
There's a copy on your old screen.
I thought I'd start this with something I'm not sure you had before, and that is how those numbers get created, where they come from, and what the math or methodology behind it is. The budgeting / marketing committee is chaired by somebody from the tourism board, but it is not made up entirely from the tourism board. In fact, the direction is to keep it from being made up by the tourism board members. So that marketing committee is made up of stakeholders. It's your constituents. It's people that are frontline with the tourism. It's obscure folks like people that work in restaurants. It's folks that are outfitters. It's guides. It's Airbnb managers. And so we reach out, Chamber of Commerce folks, we reach out and we bring together a group of them, and they make up the bulk of this committee. And the goal is that these are the people who know, boots on the ground. They know what's happening. It's not an obscure number someplace. They're actually talking with people on a daily basis. They have a real good feel on the pulse of what our what our tourists are, who they are, what they want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So in the context of that, this is a 3-step process. The marketing and budget committee meets 4 to 5 times over, and it usually takes a lot of hours. This is not a rubber stamp thing in any means. Sometimes we have trouble getting folks talked into doing it a couple times in a row because it takes a ton of their time. So it's 3 steps. Marketing committee comes up with the budget, then it is taken to the tourism board where it is reviewed, chewed on, and approved. And then the 3rd step is when it is brought here to the commissioners court. That's how these numbers get put together. When we sit down, we go through last year's budget, line item by line item. That means every single thing that you guys look at, the ABCs and the major numbers, we go through each one of those and make the sausage on. So it takes 4 to 5 meetings. The first meeting that happens is a brainstorming session. And so we reach out to these committee members and we ask them to bring to that meeting their ideas, their thoughts, their feelings, what they want, what they're seeing, the trends, you name it, their bitches, whatever. And they present that. And so at the end of that meeting, we take that information and start down the list on what's happening. And Robert's sat through this thing with us a very long time. So I'm not exaggerating any of this. This year, at that first meeting, what came out of it, and it is reflected in this budget because we take that information and then integrate it if we can. One of the main concerns that came out was the concern over the loss of our hot tax collections that we can anticipate with the closure of the basin and its resulting filtration out into the tourism. So you're going to see reflected that we have taken money and set aside that said this is not to talk about the closure. This is specifically for augmenting our budget so that our budget doesn't take a big dive on the marketing stuff. One of the big ones that came out of it was to increase our use of influencers, social media influencers. It's the future, it's what's happening. It's like websites were 25 years ago. That's happening. We identified that we wanted to increase the use of our Terlingua and Marathon human resources, that specifically people who live in those communities, and put those into positions, temporary positions at shows, any place where there was an opportunity for a one-on-one interface, i.e. with journalists, with the general public. We wanted to continue to focus on the dark skies and the birding. Those are both niche markets that it just takes some looking at. And it was suggested that we look at massaging some stuff to address the East Coast to see if there was a market share that we were missing there. So when you look at the budget, we have set aside in this budget $160,000, that's what the board is recommending. We set aside $160,000 specifically for the loss of that income that is going to happen from the closure of the basin. It's not just the maybe a dip in our visitation. There's going to be a dip in the collections because Aramark is not going to be open up there. And sorry guys, you're all in government, but some of us don't necessarily believe this project's going to take 1.5 years or 2 years, that it could absolutely drift out longer than that. And as long as that hotel up in the basin is closed, we're not going to be collecting hot tax from that. Yes, they're going to push some of that toward Terlingua, but there's just a finite number of rooms that we're not going to have. So you're going to see that in this. There's been a long-standing aversion for as long as I've been on the tourism board, 20, whatever. we've had a real aversion to paying for content, to paying somebody to write a story for us. We encourage it in every way. We pay for their hotel rooms, we do all that, but we don't actually pay them money. Occasionally we do, but we were pretty averse to that. Well, what we came up with in this committee, and it really came organically from the committee, is that influencers want to get paid. And that's just a gift. If you're gonna go into that influencer world, you have to be willing to pay for them to do something on camera. So we have added money in that direction to start moving us that way. And there's knowing that that will probably bleed over into our journalists. You know, when they find out we're paying an influencer, they're going to start wanting some money for that as well. That comes. We didn't put any money there. We're just giving a heads up. You know, that's the new world. We added money to develop a brochure for a trail man. It's literally hiking trails. It's once again looking ahead toward that park closure, and there's not much positive PR over there about the park closure. It's more like how to say, oh yeah, well, it doesn't matter if this little teeny bitty piece of the park is closed, there's all this other stuff to do. So in that respect, we're wanting to develop a brochure, a map that's just that's trails. This is just about trails that you can hike in the national park and trails in that front range along the state park. Not every single trail that's out there, just some stuff that we think is, which will help folks to go, yeah, we can recreate there. The single biggest challenge all marketing has is how or why what we do. And so it's information. That's part of getting your locals to come in, but it's also data collection. We've done some big, over the years, surveys and stuff like that. What we have added to this budget this year is money for a data collection system that is linked to phone use once people are here, once they're geolocated here in the area. You know, where's that phone based out of? Where's it coming from? How long did it stay here? That's going to give us real-time information that will direct how we spend our money. So that's in there. As I mentioned earlier, about using local talent. At the state fair and all of the travel shows, we've added money to add an additional staff to Robert's staff, not taking anything away from that, but to add an additional staff that's at the shows at the state fair, who's actually a local, somebody who lives here, who lives in the other Trilingual Marathon, and they get paid to go work their little shift there. So it puts money, it's got a lot of, we think it's got a tremendous amount of there's a lot of benefits to it. One of them, and you guys have heard this a lot, but I mean, we at the Tourism Council, we always are trying to work on our PR and how we look to the public. This is going to put money directly into the pockets of people who live there and get them on the front line with us as advertising. So we see a lot of benefits with that as far as the community outreach and all of that. For the first time this year, I asked that each of the chambers come to us and give a presentation on how they had spent the money and what their hopes and dreams were if we gave them the same amount for next year. And they did. They came in, they gave their presentations. I thought it went pretty well for the first time around. And so we didn't change those. We kept it right where we were at. Now here's one that'll cause you guys' nose to wrinkle. So in looking at the budget, one of the things that we were looking at was the salaries for the executive director. So I asked one of the committee members to do research on what people were being paid for executive director positions in other destinations that were similar to ours. So we went out and looked at stuff, places like Moab and Crested View, and Taos and Fredericksburg. We didn't look at places like El Paso or San Antonio or stuff like that, to see where we were at with what we were paying our executive director. And what we came up with from that research is that we're really right in the middle of the pack, a little on the low end, but really right in the middle of the pack. I mean, we're not overpaid. That's what the point I'm trying to make on this. He's not overpaid. And so you're going to see an increase in that as well. And this one, Robert, you haven't even heard this, neither has Greg. So this morning, just quickly, I sat down with that magic marker over there and I went through this budget and marked up the money from this budget that gets spent in Brewster County. Here, doesn't go out, it's spent here. And at the end of the day, it's pushing $850,000 for this $2 million budget. That's your salaries, that's the rent, that's the overhead, that's the historic thing. And I didn't even take all of this stuff. It's the trail map, it's the signs, it's a part of the photos, it's what we're going to pay locals to work. It's money that actually goes right back into it. It's what we put into the Marathon and Terminal Chamber of Commerce. So I'll be glad to pass this around, y'all, and you can, because it was real quick. But I just wanted to put that out there, that this money that comes in from outside that we collect, it's not generated from people who live here. It's generated from money that comes into us. Of that $2 million, almost a third to half of it gets turned right back around and put here. When we host a fam tour or a journalist or any of those guys, we pay a hotel here. We pay for their restaurant here. We pay the outfit that's taken. Just wanted to throw that out there while I have the podium.
Absolutely. In most places, and I've told y'all this before, they ask for a free room when they host a journalist. We actually pay rack rate, just use more money into all the time.
So that's it. I'm not going to bore you guys with going down this thing line by line, but Robert or I will absolutely answer any questions you have on a specific down in the weeds questions on that.
Well, I think it's an excellent budget. I know there's a lot of hard work put into it, and we thank all of y'all for, particularly you, Linda, for it as you have for the last 20 years and will for the next 30 years. Spearheaded. We appreciate that. Let me just tell you guys a couple of things. So that we are putting this on your dark line items, not your italicized, but your dark line items. We're putting it into our budget, into our accounting system exactly like you have it. Okay, so you'll be able to see, let's just take one, you'll be able to see communications, you budgeted $10,000. If you want the detail of what you spent it on, we can get that, but you'll see a report that'll show you've spent $5,000 of your $10,000 budget. Okay, so you'll be able to really take this budget and monitor it against our books, which is what we've always needed. Secondly, though, if you get to $10,000 on your communication budget and you want more, that's what's considered in the county a line item adjustment. So that would require, Robert, for you to come in and go, okay, we didn't spend it over here, but we've got it. We need to spend it over here. That would require court approval. Okay, so that wouldn't be automatic. It'd just be formality. I doubt that we've disputed, but it still has to come through the courts. Just FYI. So just understand as you start approaching that number and you go, oops, we could use a little more in communications. We can work with you on that. It just has to come through the court to do that. Okay?
Similar to how we do it overtime.
Exactly. We do this on all of our budgets for all of the entities. It's not picking on tourism. So I think the budget is excellent. It's spot on in terms of what you guys want to do. For the court, we can do two things. We can approve the budget sans the payroll piece, because I need to discuss payroll in a different setting with the court for all of the county. Or we can not approve the budget per se, and I'll load this into the master budget, which may be easier, like I've done with the 394, and we'll see this again like this in the final or preliminary budgets. So I guess my recommendation would be tentatively accept this, I'll put this into the master budget. And then you'll see it again when we approve first phases of the budget.
Something that, I kind of glossed over and wanted to clarify. The visitor center project is still alive and well within our group, but Judge Henningsen has got another idea on how that's going to be funded. And so that was part of the reason for there's nothing in there about the visitor centers. It's not that they've gone away. It's that there's a different budgetary way that's going to be addressed.
Somewhere in the future, as they're starting to get built, we'll put a line on them in for the operations of those.
There's a lot of publicity on not only this deal, but all national parks as a whole. With them getting hammered on their budget. And they're already saying most of all parks are down 30%.
In visitation or?
In visitation, just because they were putting out that there wasn't enough people to man.
Oh, yeah.
That there wasn't enough people to man the post on the national park.
I think
But they're fighting back real big. You said, hey, you're taking away from their national treasure.
I think it's a little early for us, Ruben, down there. Because summer is typically not.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's not a time where, except in COVID when everybody showed up, but it's not a good time for us to judge those numbers. I think we'll really begin to see how that's affecting us come October, starting in October.
You said you were gonna feel the effect of the Shiloh's closing. Isn't there, the lodge itself, I know it was booked years in advance, but there's only 72 rooms. How does the rest of the area, the Terlingua, Stony Butte, Lajitas, they can pick up the slack?
Well, it's a little bit of that, but the other part of it is that Aramark's property up there in the basin
That's where they go.
stays 100% booked.
Right.
And so the amount of hot tax, when you look at the hot tax line items, if you look at what Aramark collects, they're like,
300,000-400,000.
yeah,
Right.
it's a
There are number ones.
significant amount of money.
Yeah.
And it isn't because they're collecting it where I am in Studio. It's because they're collecting it up there. And I think it's really because in the hotel industry, if you've got a you're running with 60% occupancy rate, 60, that's great. And they're running 100. They're always full.
Well, right, but so you're gonna have some loss, but people are gonna stop coming because they can't stay at the.
No, not necessarily. Actually, in
everybody.
the budget, we allocated 160,000 over to kind of counteract closure in there. Typically, they bring in 400,000+.
400,000.
We're looking at, we'll have some residual come down to stay in Terlingua, to go to other rooms, et cetera, which would be which rough math. 160 from 400, we're gonna 250, 280,000 will still come in through hot tax from folks saying, I'm coming, I just can't stay in the basin, let's try out the ghost town.
Right,
Or whatever, but we still anticipate some folks, because of information and misinformation that's out there, will not come, or will delay to see that. So that's why we're kind of allocating 160.
Okay.
That's the real rough math that we think we'll lose. I think earlier in the year I mentioned probably we'll be down $250,000. We don't think it's going to be that much anymore. And we're countering it, with a lot of publicity, et cetera. But that's why the committee allocated that 160. That's probably the loss we'll have, which isn't the full amount in the basin. You're right. They're going to stay somewhere else, and they're still going to.
And they're not gonna be unable to stay at all. They're gonna pick up the slack. 72 rooms a night, you can find that in.
Yeah, I think the basin also has a remarkable loyalty with the visitors. People book it a year in advance, and I'm sure there are a significant number of people who they want to stay in the Basin Lodge and they're not interested in anywhere else.
No.
And I couldn't agree more with you, Sarah. I'm still astonished by how many times somebody walks into the stable and tells me they have stayed in the park for years, but they've never they've never gone to Terlingua, or they've never stopped and stayed in Merritt.
Yeah.
So that's
have to change their minds.
that's part of the game.
Yeah.
So
They've been open for how many years? So a loyal customer is much easier to keep than a new customer is to get.
I don't think they cared that the restaurant wasn't open.
No.
I think they stayed in those hotels. That's my humble opinion. But that project is enormous. And like all of those kind of projects, who knows what they're gonna find once they really start.
Yeah.
They built a duplex up there for
Workers.
the workers. Took over a year.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
A duplex. I know.
A duplex.
It's gonna be long. What they
We've
say.
rented a container
Yeah, sounds
to
like-
contractors. They're like, oh, we're gonna need it for 3 months, and they took it for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because it takes that long, so I have no faith
All right,
that
no,
this thing is gonna go.
anybody that dealt with the government knows everything's overkill.
And
I
yeah,
have a
turn
quick
that up.
question. It's real, doesn't mean a whole lot. You got 3 employees, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 2 makes less money than number 3. Is that, why is that? I mean, they just,
Adele is my assistant in there, just by name.
that's just the way it
She
showed
works
up.
the office. She's essentially the office manager is what I consider
Oh,
her.
okay.
But Aaron, the third employee, he does a lot of travel. So
Okay.
that's actually, we pay him more because he now, and especially with this particular budget, I'm gonna be actually staying locally more and doing more administrative work. But Aaron is at every show. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
I don't have a problem with it. I was just
that's one
wondering.
reason why there's a bit of a salary discrepancy in there. He's got to do a lot of over, Adele since they don't.
I saw that the Just Ahead app is still on there. Does that mean that they're going to fix it?
That's a glad to know. I'm actually getting no response from them. The nice thing, and the reason it's still on
The
here.
reason it's still on here.
Here's the reason. We haven't paid for it.
We haven't paid for it.
Several years.
Oh, okay.
Not costing us anything.
Essentially, it's another one of those unfortunate gentleman's agreement, you know, but I told him, maybe this fixed. He said, I will be able to fix it.
It's a really, really
It's
nice
just
app.
getting there.
I really
is
like it,
not.
but it
Yeah,
doesn't work
There's
on.
no forward progress on getting the Android version fixed. The iPhone still works
Yeah.
fantastic, but he hasn't charged us the $8,000 annual fee, and that, this will be the 3rd year he hasn't charged us, so I don't think he's going to fix it. And in my report, I'll tell you about our other app that I think may be able to help with that situation.
We're not abandoning that marketing thing. We
Yeah.
just don't have a vehicle that's working as well as we'd like.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got to use it when my mom visited last time because she has an iPhone and I don't. And it's a really nice app. It works really well. So I'm hoping they get it fixed someday.
I'm still gonna push them, because they do most of the national parks in the nation. We subsidize ours. Everybody else is $1, $5, $8, $10 to download. Ours is free, and that's why they charge us that annual fee. But as long as he still has it free and doesn't charge us, we'll just let it fit. But I am pushing him to try and do it. You know, I call him once a quarter.
How you doing? How are the kids?
Yeah.
It's the Android app yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, see, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, we'll go back up to A. Thank you, Linda, so much.
You need a
Appreciate it.
motion or anything?
Well, I think, I'm just gonna put it in the master budget. You'll
Okay.
see it again with no changes. And then that way we can talk about it. It'll be all in one big bundle.
Yes.
Thank you for driving in from New Mexico for this wonderful presentation. All right, Robert, go ahead. Item A, 19A.
Yes, sir. Just a quick general update. The 4th looked good. A spike in visitation as would be expected. It was good, not great, but hey, but still, we had a lot of rain and weather that kept folks from coming in. We were able to, because of the weather, to do some information for visitors on the closure of Santa Elena, Rio Grande Village, the hot springs, et cetera. So we threw that up on social, so we were able to get that word out. But overall, from hearing from all the hoteliers, 4th was good. It wasn't good. Also, as mentioning on our Just Ahead app, it has had no progress. However, we do have another app. It was kind of secondary. It was more or less an itinerary app where people could come in and decide, okay, I want to stay at the Gauge, and then I want to have lunch at DV's down south, and then I want to hike Bounce Rock. And you can go into it. It's called Visit Widget, and actually put those things in an itinerary for yourself and save it to yourself. You can send it to other people in your parties, et cetera. That company, we've had it for a few years. It's nice. It's great. They did a massive upgrade this year. It just launched in June 1. And yesterday I had a training with the staff. They have now added an audio component where you can come in. We would have to record the audio, but we could come in and say little tidbits similar to how Just Ahead works, and actually make geolocation points via, longitude and latitude. And when they get there, if they were doing, I'll use as an example, the Terlingua Ghost Town, the cemetery area that they're wanting to build, that walking tour there. As they're walking and they come and they hit here and they're at this particular gravesite or this particular location, there will be a button they can push on the app. They push that and it will speak to them and tell them about that. So that's a wonderful update that they've done on that particular app, as well as push notifications. This will be invaluable for us. In other words, like with the closure of Santa Elena Canyon, what we can do now is we can actually put a geo fence around that road. As soon as the turnoff is in the national park for Santa Elena Canyon, the Ross Maxwell Drive, as soon as you hit that, it will alert you. Notification, by the way, Santa Elena is closed right now, so folks don't drive all the way down, see the roadblock, and then get disappointed and come back. Now, they should be getting that information from the rangers, but again, some don't stop or don't ask, they just assume it's open. So we'll actually be able to put push notifications out for whatever we want. We can also geolocate locations, businesses, the Cottonwood store, telling its hours, so as people drive by. By the way, they close it, whatever it is, be sure to get your bread and sandwiches or something like that. We can actually do all of these things with that app after this wonderful upgrade. And the really nice thing also is that we are able to come in and add hoteliers in there and add what are called, they call them ads. Several other destinations like ours actually have residual income that is not just hotel tax. In other words, we could say, if we wanted to, we do not, we will not go down this road, but other destinations could say the Hilton Hotel over here. If you'd like an ad on our app, you can have that for $50 a month or whatever. And then that will actually be an ad every fourth listing in there. It will be an ad for the Hilton Hotel. We're not going to utilize it that way. What I'm going to do is do a rotator for all of our lodging. Since that is our income, it's hotel tax. We will have rotator ads on there for every lodging partner that we have on the hot tax list. Hopefully this will be an incentive to get those who are not registered to actually register, because when they see others getting ads and they won't, then why am I not on there? Because you're not paying the hot tax is why. So hopefully that'll be another carrot we can dangle to get them, those who are not participating, to actually register for the hotel tax. I hope. The last thing about that visit widget app, and that will be our push. Starting now, we will no longer push the Just Ahead app as much as we had before. We will push this visit widget app. We were grandfathered in. I don't like to go low, I like to go high. So we were at the top tier level for the last couple of years. With this new release, they are charging more. However, we were already grandfathered in at the prime level, so it's not going to cost us anymore. It's still going to be about $6,000-7,000 a year. And we get all these nice new bells and whistles because we were one of the premier partners at their beginning. So that's nice. So we get all these added things with no additional cost to us. And once we get all that lined up, it will probably be September 1st before we get everything done. I'll bring it in and do a demonstration and show you on this app. Other things happening in the office. Later on this week, I have a regional map meeting. Stuart Ramser, who many of you know, he produces the Big Bend, Texas Mountain Travel Guide. And also he's the guy who puts on Viva Big Bend. He and his new wife are going to develop a regional map. We've had a problem. Blue Sky Productions, Riley Stevens is no longer producing the local map that we typically gave out at every show, and a lot of people still like. So Stuart and his wife are going to kind of pick that up. So I'll see what it looks like and see if we want to participate later in this week. And also later on this week, if not this week, next week, we'll have another web meeting with our new website. And our webmaster, Tony, has a bunch of stuff that he wants to show us. He's almost ready. I'm still hopeful for an August launch. If not, we'll launch at Labor Day. But that's still coming along. So the new website is rocking and rolling. I'll just see when the website committee can meet, and then we'll review what he's done. And lastly, Viva Big Bend is coming up. We will kick it off down south as we have the last several years, June 23rd at the Starlight in Terlingua. That'll be the very first performance for Viva this year. And then we also subsidize the show in Marathon as well, which will happen on Friday. July 25th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I missed it.
So it's been a long 4th of July weekend. So yeah, I wrote down June is July. Yeah. Both those will happen July 23rd and July 25th. Yeah, that's about it for the office.
All right, you got 2 contracts to review?
Yes, sir. What are you here?
I want to hear about Global Devolver.
Yeah.
Interesting name.
Yeah, it is, and that's kind of how they get their names to pop, is these odd names. It's not about debauchery, but I want to get her name correct. I have that here. It is Jordan Campbell. She is the chief debaucherer, is how she goes by. Actually, Aaron has met her at several shows this year. As you know, we send Aaron to not just consumer shows, but also trade and professional shows. So he went to the North American Travel Journalists Association conference, as well as the International Media Marketplace in New York this year, and met with this particular person. And they are offering, this is kind of our first foray into what the marketing committee has wanted us to do. We won't be paying to play for this particular visit, but as you see in the contract, it is there's an amount that's due, but we then will receive deliverables. I believe in hers, we have the choice. Once she comes down, we'll take a look at what she creates, so to speak. 2 to 5 minute promotional video on YouTube. We could actually come in and have them do blog posts for us. They will create, for the cost in this, 10 Instagram reels for us, etc. A lot of social posts. So instead of just hosting and letting them sell their story to the Wall Street Journal or whatever it may be, we're actually now going to the point of entering into contracts like this that have deliverables. So that we will not actually pay her until we see those 10 Instagram reels, the 10 Facebook posts, the 20 photos, the 2 little videos, etc. So that's the global debauchery on that one. We're excited on this one. I think it'll go over well. And again, it's kind of our first foray into the pay to play market.
So we're gonna pay her to deliver some videotape, and then we're also paying though for these people to have the prizes.
I'm saying, sorry, say that
It's
again.
talking about you're paying for overnight lodging and money.
The actual influencers? Yeah, we're still hosting them. I was confused on that, and it's kind of it's disappointing to me because it doesn't make, in my sense, influencers don't make very good business sense, honestly. If you have a company, you don't say, okay, I'm gonna contract, and then all right, you're gonna have to buy my hammer, you're gonna have to buy my cement truck, you're gonna have to buy, that doesn't make sense. You have tools in yourself. With an influencer, their tool is just their ability to speak right and stand in front of a camera. I feel like if you pay an influencer 10 grand, they pay their own hotel. They pay their own, because that's their tools to get the story. Doesn't work that way. Influencers want everything still paid for, and then money. This is it doesn't make good business sense to me, but that is the influencer world. So I was actually schooled on that at the last conference that I went to. I don't agree with it, but that's just the world.
All right, so what we're basically paying is we're paying money for her to produce videos, but we're also paying for the cost of her and to come down here.
Correct.
All the expenses to some of it, but not unlike a speaker, you would pay travel expenses for a speaker if you were going to have a speaker.
Very true, because their tool is themselves. Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, just for where would you sling this in the new budget?
All of this would come out of, the new budget will come out of public relations. Yeah,
Okay.
all of our influencer and
Okay,
journalists.
so that would hit.
That's why the PR line is so big. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's going to be important as we move into the new year that you, as the department head, are coding it so that when Melinda's team gets it, I mean, it's not up to them to know where that's supposed to go. So you guys are going to have to be really active and say, this goes into my promotional budget. That's where we're going to put it.
Right.
Because it's really not up to Julie and Melinda to decide where that goes. That they'll put it somewhere for you, but
Yeah. It might not be where I want it. Yeah, that's right.
All right, any comment, I entertain a motion on global debauchery.
So
Second.
Motion is second, discussion. You know, this is one I'd like to see metrics on.
Absolutely.
You know, we talked about it in the meeting, but all right, motion is second.
Let's post this stuff on the Brewster County Facebook page and stuff, I'm sure.
Yes. All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye. All right, the El Paso Travel family.
Now, this is another interesting journalist that he met at the North American Travel Journalists Association, but she's out of El Paso, or the family is out of El Paso, I should say. We brought them down earlier this year in April, just so to speak, as a tester. We paid nothing, we just hosted them very briefly because they were so close. And they did incredible. And we don't do a lot for families. We host a lot of individual journalists, or it seems like they're always the journalist and their husband or spouse or partner or whatever who's the videographer. That's also is just an industry standard. That's usually how it goes. And honestly, if a journalist is traveling with somebody else, it tends to make the story better because there's more conversation. It's not just, so to speak, a single image of what we have here in Big Bend that they produce in the story. They can bounce things off of their partner. So that works. But we've done very little for families, and we're trying to kind of diversify our marketing to get more family units to come down here. A lot of families already come, but this particular one is geared towards families. That's what her audience is. The nice thing is, yes, again, she does have a partner who works with her. But this is what really caught me that I wanted to do this. He is an Emmy, let me make sure that's right. I believe, yes, he's an Emmy award-winning videographer. I mean, he's not just somebody who takes video. This guy has won Emmys. He's produced things for PBS, National Geographic, the History Channel, and he just happens to be associated with El Paso. So we're going to bring them down, and I thought that it would be a nice way to highlight the biggest event that we have in Brewster County out here, which is the chili cook-off. That's when they'll be coming down with some Emmy award-winning videography. So that's the kicker with this El Paso family. Not is it only is it going to be family-oriented, they'll get a lot of information from the area, not at the cook-off, but as they are here. Yeah. You gotta see them when you can. This is not a one, this is a twofer. They're gonna be in the park. Ain't no cook-off in the park. They're gonna be getting that family video there. And I will finally have video. I have plenty of stills. I have no video from the cook-off after all these years. I find that very unusual that we have none.
Well, they sell the debauchery group.
Yeah, I know. We should roll them in together. They're not, but who knows? We may try and see. It all depends on when they can actually come. Yeah.
All right, motion, and I'd entertain a motion for this. All right, motion. Second. Any discussion? Everybody's a videographer these days. Everybody's an influencer. Everybody's a social media. I mean, I don't know how you weed through that. I'm in the wrong business.
And ivermectin fixes everything.
No, you don't have to be videographer. And ivermectin fits over. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank y'all. All right, Robert, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's do comptroller and go home. What do you got?
Okay, only thing I have for y'all today
Maybe
is
on the
the budget adjustments. I'm just gonna apologize because some corrections that need to be made on the expense payments. We are getting those taken care of. We'll get those payments out later today or first thing tomorrow. And then we'll get all of those presented to y'all next week.
Okay.
The budget adjustments that we need to make is we've had a few new employees coming in that needed to be drug tested, so we have moved just $400 line item adjustment within road and bridge. And then on the tax office, on tax assessor, we're anticipating that we're probably gonna have some contracted services between now and the end of the fiscal year. And so we've moved a little bit of money around within that budget to put about $2,000 more into the services line. And then the last one, when the budget was done, the thought was that the payment to Big Bend Regional Hospital District associated with the USDA grant was gonna be $25,000. It's actually $30,000. And so we did, this is actually a budget adjustment because we're moving it from a different department. Is the entity listed under the contracting agencies has not returned and is not expected to return their contract. So we have taken that $5,000 and moved it to the hospital district.
Do we have a Permia care line and an MHMR line item?
I don't have that in front of me. I don't believe so. I think we need to change that in the current year because it's no longer called that.
Yeah, because I thought we still paid Permia care $5,000.
I'm sorry?
I thought we still paid them $5,000.
I haven't seen it go through, and that was the one that I called you about, and you said move it.
Yeah. I thought you were taking it out of the CAC, the children's advocacy thing that hasn't, I didn't realize it was MHM. It's all right, leave it alone.
Yeah, we had the two of them, but that one has not been used this year. I will double check that, and if y'all are okay with it, I can change it to the
Awesome.
the CASA.
Just something in the back of my mind says, and maybe I'm wrong, but something we're gonna get a bill for that 5,000, because that's our contribution.
Well, I asked everybody on the face of the earth before I went with that.
And what throws us off is the MHMR, not permanent care. I think that's.
So, yeah, so
Because if we have to take it out of,
there's an agreement.
Agreement that's
According
approved first.
to Patty, they have not returned it for the last couple of years.
they have it. So we haven't been paying.
They were bothering me about it last year. I'll check.
Leave it alone, and if we have to do another adjustment, we'll do that. Just out of curiosity, how do you do it monthly as opposed to just one item?
I'm sorry?
Why do you scatter it across all those?
That is not me, that is the software.
Oh, okay,
Ignore the monthly scatter.
okay.
I'm going to pay expenses and own exchange and clinical propane and, do the line item adjustments.
Yeah, we don't have any payment of expenses.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said that you had the payment of expenses are on top.
No, we skipped that this time. We're just doing number
So then
two,
I moved to,
approve the line item adjustment.
move the line item.
Okay,
I'll second.
motion is second. All right, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, done. All right, anything else, Melinda?
That's it.
Okay. If there's no other comments from the court, this next meeting will be, regular meeting will be July 22nd in this courtroom at 9:30. And we will be doing a special meeting next week at 9:30 in this courtroom for a budget workshop.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion adjourned. That was a fast